Boys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got a killer video on deck. I want to break down exactly how to break through muscle building plateaus. I feel like this is the big problem that a lot of people go through. I've been guilty of this myself, and I kind of want to break down an actionable game plan that you guys can use to literally get over this hurdle, because if not done successfully, you literally just waste your time not seeing any growth, not seeing results, and honestly just making the process miserable on yourself. So guys, let's get right into the video. I broke this down to three kind of key categories, as you guys can see right here. What causes plateaus in muscle gain? We're going to talk about how to adjust the meal plan when the progress actually stalls, and then the importance of recalculating your macros after hitting this plateau. So these three keys are really going to break down how to get over the hurdle, actionable steps for you to literally get yourself to stimulate faster progress, and then stuff that I think is really going to help you in the long run just to literally pack on, I think, muscle, even size at a faster rate. So boys, let's get right into it. As you guys see, I'm pretty pumped about this video because this is something that I have severely struggled with throughout my journey, and honestly I just didn't know how to get over it. And what ended up happening, I just wasted so much freaking time doing, I wouldn't say nothing because I was putting in work, but I wasn't just seeing the results, which then, as you guys can see here, made the process pretty miserable to say the least. So I want to break down everything you guys need to know and honestly how to get over it really quickly. So again guys, as I mentioned, I want to break down exactly these three things because I feel like these 3 points are really going to give you just a different framework on how to go about this, because this point is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. You're not going to always see like linear growth. You're going to get some pockets of stagnant growth, but having the right frameworks in mind makes you get out of that hurdle a lot quicker. And this game plan right here is only going to expedite, again, as someone who's being very skinny, it was very hard for me to pack on muscle. And then when I did pack on muscle, of course, we know how to do it the right way because you guys watched, how to pack 15 pounds of lean muscle in 4 months. If you haven't, I'll link that video down below. It's absolute killer videos, doing really well on the channel right now. So I hope, if you haven't seen that, make sure to check that out. And then of course, you're going to get pockets of this stagnant growth. And then these two videos combined are really going to give you everything you need to get the results. So again, guys, let's get right into it. I want to break down exactly the main reasons progress, plateaus are caused, because I feel like it's very underestimated. I feel like a lot of people just don't know how to go about it. And again, guys, the reason this actually happens is because our body adapts to a current training routine. And again, it just promotes stagnant growth. So the whole thing with our bodies and our muscles, your muscles get muscle memory. And the more you do stuff, the more you stay, I guess if you want to call it the same, the more you're going to get, stagnant growth. You're not going to see any new growth coming in. And that's the biggest problem that a lot of people go with, because they don't, essentially change their training regimen. They do the same exercises over and over again. That doesn't lead to many results. And, the worst case, guys, I think what really halts, the journey of fitness or seeing tangible results is that you waste a lot of time not seeing results. And then as a byfactor of that, a lot of people quit. A lot of people make the journey miserable, and you go through periods of like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months of just nothing. And that's the most, I think, frustrating part about this process, because no one showed me that these frameworks work. No one showed me that like there was ways to go about it. So I want to keep on going on and on. I want to give you guys the sauce. So again, as I mentioned, limited results, wasted time. So let's go and break these down to our 3 categories. We have the training variations. I kind of broke this into kind of the training structure. How can we go about actually changing the way we train to stimulate or get over this hurdle? Nutrition adjustments, our meal plan essentially, as I mentioned earlier up here, about how to go, the importance about recalculating your macros, and then last but not least, rest and recovery, which is huge. So guys, these 3 frameworks are 3 different ways that you guys could use to literally get over this hurdle. You can use all 3, you can use 1, you can use 2, just use whatever's best with you. But generally speaking, like, this is what really helped me to get over it, because guys, I wouldn't preach if I didn't do this stuff. I have achieved my dream body from going someone who's pretty skinny, insecure. Just want to pack on a little bit of muscle, and I was doing like a traditional bulk that you guys know is not the right way to do it. But honestly, I should have put another picture of me really starting out. If you guys are new to the channel, I was like a 120-pound twig. And then of course, unlocking the stream physique. So let's get right into it, boys. And I want to show you exactly what you need to know. So the first part, let's talk about breaking progress plateaus, of course, and then how we're going to overcome it through training variations of workouts. So overcoming, again, muscle memory, which inhibits limiting growth. So when we talk about our training, the biggest thing with training is muscle memory. And the more we do stuff this, over and over again, the more repetition, the more our muscles get, they just associate what it's going to essentially do, to keep it simple. And if you keep on doing the bench press to start your workouts, every single workout, your muscles are going to get used to it. So just, get that muscle memory. And when you can have the ability to essentially confuse the muscle, where maybe you're changing around your training split. So maybe instead of doing a push-pull leg split, you're switching up to an Arnold, or maybe if you're not doing an Arnold, you're doing an upper and lower body split. Or, essentially maybe if you're doing that and it's still not working, maybe you could change the actual structure of your workout. So maybe instead of starting with this compound lift, you switch to this compound lift, which also hits that muscle group. For example, so say if you're doing like a bench press and you're seeing the same weight, you just can't get over it. Maybe you're switching to dumbbells, maybe you're switching to, the machine press, whatever it is, stuff like this. And even on top of that, if that doesn't work, then you're going to switch the order of your exercises to, again, get to the theme of confusing the muscles, so you're doing different stuff. That is what I essentially kind of sum up here. I know that's kind of like a brief overview, but again, let's just get dialed in. I kind of want to just give you a little synopsis to essentially, say how we're going to go about this. So again, changing up our routine is we could do this. So again, new exercises and variation techniques. So this is something I think a lot of people underestimate and honestly just don't really see, because this one took me a while to, I'd say a little bit, to really understand that when you look at a certain exercise, there's different variations of that exercise that actually hits the same muscle. So for example, if we look, like I just used the bench press because we just talked about it before, the bench press actually hits parts of your chest. No kidding, Alex. Obviously, everyone knows that. But if we could use the bench press and swap that out to maybe a dumbbell bench press, just doing that, that's hitting the same muscle group but at different variations because you're at different points. And of course, the dumbbells movement and a fixed barbell movement is completely different. You also have machine presses where you can do the same thing, same muscle you're hitting, but different variations. This is going to promote, for you to get over the muscle memory and for you to, really see different results and to kind of confuse the muscle, which is the constant theme in this, confusing the muscle. So that's why I talk about, variation techniques, hitting the same muscle group in a different way. New training splits, as I mentioned earlier. So maybe if you're doing like a PPL, you could switch to an Arnold split, maybe an upper and lower body, maybe a full body, whatever works best with you and your lifestyle. Of course, choose the best, something that you generally enjoy. But that's, a second option to go with. And the third is a training structure. So the order. So as I mentioned, you could essentially do, say for example, you have, your compound lifts first and your isolations. You can then switch up your isolations and have your compounds, towards the end. I don't really suggest that because you really want the most energy. You're going to be depleted if you really get the compounds to the end of the workout. But if you want to try it, by all means, you can go ahead. It's just another, framework you guys could use. The second thing is, now that we changed up the actual routine itself, we can then go to the second part of using progressive overload if you're not already doing this. And the reason why progressive overload is so important is because it's going to, of course, increase the weight we gradually push it. So essentially, guys, if we're, we know for, our compound lifts, we're doing anywhere from 6 to 9, and then our isolation, we're doing anywhere from 8 to 10, 10 to 12. I generally stay in the 10 to 12. Once we hit the reps of 999, say for a compound lift, we're going to increase the weight. Reps are going to decrease. You're going to rinse and repeat over time to build muscle. And this is progressive over, and that's going to be a way to also get over, this progress plateau. So again, using the right rep ranges, using the weights to our advantage, and then we have changing up a routine. So guys, these two alone, this is literally could solve your problem right here. But again, I want to go one step further, and we're going to talk about the changing of training intensity. But again, I'm going to just, increase the weight gradually, the ability to frequently challenge your muscles, and then we're going to increase the strength and reps over time. And then the last but not least, I just think these two right here are a strong foundational framework for you guys. I'm going to highlight these or put them in bold essentially because they're really good. And then this is something that is just like a little nuanced approach. You could be changing your training intensity. So again, the purpose of this is to, I'll highlight this just so it's all even for us, as we could see, because that'd bother me. So again, this is the ability to make your muscles work harder. Of course, if you're not seeing any results from these two, you could then go into this. I think this should be your last option. I really think, honestly, these two should solve it. I just kind of throw this one here as like a bonus. And again, as I mentioned, it's going to be the ability to make your muscles work harder, not letting your muscles get used to the same thing. As you can see, that's the constant theme, not getting muscle memory, and pushing yourself you're pushing yourself each time to force your muscles to adapt, because again, you're maybe decreasing the rest time, whatever you're doing, and this is going to allow you to, make sure you're doing the right, rest ranges. But these are the training frameworks, that really help me. I use this stuff all the time, guys. It's literally like my cheat sheet, and this is a good way to go about it. So this is for our training. And you're going to be like, dude, like, there's just so many ways to go about it. Guys, you don't have to implement everything. I just think these are good skill sets to throw in your pocket to, to use over time, because you're going to go through different stuff. You're going to see maybe this stuff, maybe you see better stuff doing it with this than this. That's fine. But just, it's a good way to know everything, because guys, the more information you have, the more skill sets you're going to get, the more you're going to be more due diligent on how to do this process, it's an everlasting game, guys. You're always going to be a student. You're always going to be learning, but it's good to know this, because you could always build more information, in the same vertical as this. So guys, this was, breaking, the training. Now let's talk about the nutrition adjustments. I can't speak today, but, so guys, let's talk about this. So again, if progress still slows, it might need your body essentially you need more fuel for your muscles. And I feel like the biggest thing with this is honestly not hitting your protein consistently or not increasing your intake. I'm not saying go way over. I'm saying in the right guidelines. And right here, I kind of gave us some frameworks we go about, because I do the same thing as always. So the first thing we could do is making sure we're increasing our protein intake. Essential for muscle repair, growth, and recovery essentials, as you guys know. And if you guys are not already, please make sure you're hitting your body weight in protein. This is so important to get over this. And if you're still doing that, then you can increase towards 1.3 plus if you're still not seeing results. I honestly think, like, if this works towards your macros and you did it correctly, then I think you should go to this. But I really think your training alone is going to make sure. If you're not tracking your macros, then please, this is like your reminder to do it, because you're just not going to see results at the speed you want. So again, this is kind of the protein intake I really recommend everyone essentially have, because it's really going to allow us to really not only make sure, we get the muscle repair, but it's going to enable more growth. Second thing we could do is adjusting our carbs and fats. Caloric intake may be too low, so we can help ensure you have optimal energy. This all comes down to, guys, like, you have to know your macros. You have to know your maintenance. You have to know you have to be in a calorie increase of anywhere from 200 to 300, because we're going to be doing a lean bulk and not a standard bulk of 500 to 1,000 calories. If this is not making sense for you guys, please make sure you check out the video below of how you're able to back on 15 pounds in lean muscle in 4 months, and then use this framework as something to complement that video, because it's going to start clicking, because I go in extreme detail about stuff like this. And I'll even link maybe I'll see what else I put down there, but I really think that video, and if I throw an extra video down there, then it's just more information, because these frameworks are how you build a strong foundation. And if you're not building a strong foundation, everything's going to plummet. Like, guys, there's no shortcuts. If you don't know this stuff, and if you just try to throw this system in and you don't have a strong foundation, you don't know your due diligence, you're just kind of like honestly throwing a dart at it. Like, you're throwing a dart that you just know you're not hitting. And every single time it's going to just bounce somewhere else. You're going to miss the board, and it's going to just waste time. So please make sure you really get this stuff down. If there's more stuff that you guys need, please leave a comment down below, and I'll make more videos on it just so it helps you. But like, again, guys, you can have all the information in the world, but if you're not acting on it, there's not much that is really going to happen. So please don't do that. Just had to make that point. So again, as I mentioned, we're going to be adjusting our carbs and fats. Our caloric intake may be too low, as I just mentioned. Help sure we have optimal energy. So again, this just comes down to our macros. And another thing that I think is really important is just make sure you're eating more frequently. Maybe eating smaller nutrient-dense meals throughout the day to help maintain a steady supply of nutrients to your muscles. So maybe you're doing anywhere from 3 to 5 meals, maybe your 3 core meals and then 2 snacks. Whatever's best for you. I just think if you're doing this, please make sure it's more sustainable towards your lifestyle and what you like most. If you're a person who only does 3 meals, that's fine. Again, obviously it's more optimal to do anywhere from 4 to 5, but if you're doing 3, just make sure it's sustainable and make sure you can stay consistent with it, because that is so much more important. Because essentially, like, if you're doing that, that means you're going to stick with the system long term. If you don't, then you're going to quit, and then we're not even, then everything is just honestly goes to shit. So please make sure that's really important. And And then as always, guys, we have to make sure we're tracking our calories for precision. Ensure we're in a slight calorie surplus to fuel muscle growth without adding excess fat. As I mentioned, that's the video down below. And then the third point, guys, rest and recovery. So again, I really think if you look at it from this way, I want to point out something. So if we look at it again from our training and our recovery standpoint, this is literally like hand in hand. We have to do both at the same time, because if you're training really well and you're not recovering, it's just like you're just not going to see results, because your recovery is essentially where your muscles, really get restored. It's where you get all the energy back. It's like you breaking apart your muscles and then literally just doing it again and again. Overtraining stimulate injury, and you're just going in the same repetitive cycle because you're not giving your time to rest. Resting is so important. You don't need to be a gym rat. You don't need to be training 4 hours a day. That doesn't work. Use recovery, and it's going to help stimulate faster results. So please make sure you use these two to complement each other. And then again, the nutrition is just even more for you guys to get faster results. Apologies, I don't know why I didn't change this, but I'm going to change it now just so no one's confused. Okay, so rest and recovery, as we mentioned, muscles don't actually grow during the workouts, but they grow during our rest. And if you constantly are pushing hard without adequate rest, you're going to get risk of overtraining and injury, which only halts our progress. So that's the biggest thing. Like, everyone thinks that the more I train, the more gains. Yeah, but you need to be resting. If you're not resting, you're just not going to see results. Simple as that. And you need to be relying on your sleep, at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Again, our rest days are so important, so 1 to 2 days of rest. If you don't want to do a rest day, what I do suggest is maybe just taking a day, at least 1 day off, and sitting in a sauna, foam rolling, stretching, just giving your body time to recover, because, guys, your body needs to recover. If you're training 24/7, it's going to be really hard for you to get the results, because you're just not getting the proper, rest that your muscles need. Please make sure. And there's kind of 2 ways I really go about this for myself. We have active recovery, and then we have stretching and foam rolling. Again, just stuff to make it a little less on your body. Active recovery is anywhere from light activities, we could do walking, yoga, swimming, can help increase blood flow to your muscles and speed up recovery without too much strain on it. Another thing that just came to mind is hitting your daily step count, guys. This is something that's really good, because what the importance of hitting your daily step count is, essentially, guys, it's not a high intensity exercise. It's not going to take away from your lifts. It's going to essentially, be light on your body. So you're not going to really feel the effects of it. And it's a good way of course, the mental state, but just to get outside and be active. It's a really good way. And I should have thrown this in for active recovery, but I have light activities. I did have it, like walking. That's funny. So I did have it right here. But again, your daily step count is so important, as always. And then last but not least, stretching and foam rolling after a workout to help reduce tightness, soreness, and speed up recovery. So again, guys, I like to pair 1 and 2 with these, and then a nutrition is just a bonus. But guys, these are the frameworks that literally is going to help you get over those hurdles, how to make sure you get faster growth, and to literally make sure that you're not wasting your time. Because, guys, I don't want you to go through the same mistakes I did. This mistake, again, I was bulking. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't doing the frameworks I just mentioned down below, and I was wasting so much time. Honestly, I think I could have got here half the time if I knew that framework down below, because I just didn't understand that it's just a matter of time. But if you're doing the same stuff and you're not seeing results and you keep on doing it over and over and over again, it's insanity 101. You're never going to get there. And I didn't have that realization until, of course, a lot longer, because I eventually, of course, unlocked my dream physique, but I wish I just knew it earlier, because maybe I would be way farther than I am right now. So I hope this video was helpful. I know this is a huge problem a lot of people go through, because I fall victim to this, of how to break through muscle building plateaus. And I hope that you guys got everything you need to really get through this and to pack on growth at such a faster speed. So boys, really happy I was able to drop this video for you guys. If there's any questions or any other videos that you guys want, especially on this channel, to help you simulate faster growth, but to really get an in-depth overview on how I would go about it, or more information and frameworks that you guys could use, leave a comment down below and I'll get right to it. But as always, if you guys really thought this video was helpful, please make sure to let me know. And again, it just helps me grow this channel to help people become the best version of themselves, unlocking their dream physique, and literally being, literally being or structuring an identity that you want to be. And that's the biggest thing with the fitness, the mindset, the personal development, all this different stuff. If you're showing up every single day, you're putting these reps in, you're going to work towards that future you who has it all. And you guys can see this in my, you hear it in my voice, because like, this is something that, guys, I've went through the entire, I wish I had another picture here, but if you guys are new to the channel, like, it was pretty bad, where I started to where I was to where I am now. So again, like, this stuff literally changed my life, and I hope that it literally does the same for you, because I want the best for each and one of you, because I know just being on their side what it meant to me and my journey. And again, guys, it literally could like do stuff you cannot even physically imagine. So I want everyone to get the best shape of life, everyone to get a ripped physique, because we all deserve it. We just gotta put the work in and put the reps in. So boys, I'll see you in the next video on the channel. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get to work.